There's a certain phrase that I've been hearing over and over again. It wasn't all that prominent a few years back, but recently its appearances in my life have been increasing in frequency. You are our future. You, the youth, the generation of children who have just begun growing up that I belong to. I've always been a regular old kid with glasses, friends, and a penchant for mischief. To be told that I somehow have to shape the future, a momentous and daunting task, is unsettling. I would love to, but am I capable of that? Will I be capable of that when the future becomes now, when I'm a child grown into an adult, when I see the world in a different pair of lenses, and when my friends might have changed, and when I might instead have a penchant for keeping quiet and to myself? But I still need to wait to grow up first, don't I? I've only just become a high schooler, and I still have no clue what I want to be when I grow up, what fields I would like to familiarize myself with, and what impact I want my work to have. So what if I want to make change, shape the future? I don't have any ideas or images of what change I would make. I do have a few years until I become an adult, though. If I want to figure out what kind of future I want to create, what kind of change I want to make, I should look at my past and figure out who I am first. I can't remember too far back, but let me think. For years, ever since grade 6, I really wanted to be remembered. I wanted people to think of me beyond just my face and my name. At my school, our English class has a unit for public speaking every year. It's been in place since I was first here in grade 4, and probably was much longer than that. My old school had never had public speaking, so after a bad speech in my grade 4 public speaking club, you can probably imagine that I wasn't very fond of the unit for many years. Maybe that's why in grade 6, when we had all had enough of the mind-numbing cliche presentations on, why we shouldn't have homework, or why basketball should be mandatory, I was the one who decided I want to be different. But I was young, and I had yet to have any interesting, memorable speeches, of course. So I went for humor. That's what I did for a long time back then. I spent a lot of time trying to convince people that I was worth being friends with because I was funny. But I think after a while that changed. After a while, it was more about convincing people to only see my jokes and my humor, and to let go of any heavy expectations about academics or success that they had placed on my shoulders. I mean, I'm a class clown. I'm not gifted. Please don't look so disappointed when I mess up. Unfortunately, all the way until grade 7, there was only one category of public speaking we were allowed to write in, and that was persuasive, which only allows some space for jokes. So for grade 6 and 7, I created advertisement speeches. Persuasive isn't persuading someone to buy something, and then I put little comedic twists on them. My classmates ate them up, and at least one of my teachers thought it was hilarious. Not sure about the other one. But unfortunately, both times I was told it didn't classify as a persuasive speech, so my marks were lowered. I didn't care back then because the memory of making my classmates and my teacher laugh so hard was what mattered to me at the time. In my mind, it was a success. And I still think it is because it's where this journey to this me, this moment right now, started. Without it, I wouldn't be standing up here. After my grade 7 speech, I was told in grade 8 that there would be a category known as After Dinner. It's meant to be more comedic and entertaining, so I really think it will fit your style, my teacher informed. So you would have thought that I realized after all the mistakes, all of the feedback, all of the lowered marks, that I would have been like, okay, I'll just perform a funny, simple after-dinner speech and finally get good grades for once. Of course that's what I did. No, I'm joking, I didn't. It was funny that the moment I finally had a chance to do those humorous speeches that I'd already stuck with for 2 years, I changed. Grade 8 was when I grew out of my childhood immaturity, well, most of it anyway, and I wanted to present something that would actually impress my teachers and my peers, whilst at the same time still receiving a good grade. But unlike my classmates who knew to pick those classic pressing problems and provide a logical and intellectual solution, I was still stubbornly determined to be the one who was different, who was remembered. I decided to choose a more unorthodox thesis. It was why you can't let yourself stand in the shadow of your parents, and I continued on with the persuasive category. why did I do that? Well, over that summer, I'd won my first debate award ever, even when I'd had zero hopes in the class clown with the poor grades and troublemaker reputation. I actually hadn't thought that I would win anything, so I didn't go to the award ceremony. Sitting in the back of my car, I received my second best novice speaker in a digital picture, sent over WeChat by the principal of the debate academy to my mom. Grade 8 came. I wasn't really used to trying anymore, because I knew that if I tried and I failed, then I would have no excuse except I'm just not good enough. I just stuck to making jokes because that was the only thing that I seemed to have any success in. But I realized that not trying, even if it was so much easier, because if I didn't do anything, nobody would know about my weaknesses. There would be no evidence to prove them. Even if that was so, I realized that not trying gets me nowhere, and life was moving on. All my friends were trying, and even if they failed, they learned how to find success in things that I had never even done before. They were all growing up, and I was the only one who was being left behind. So I started trying, because I didn't want to be the only one stuck at the same locked doors that everyone else had already opened. After the HFLS summer competition, there were several others, UTS in December, World Scholars Cup in April, that I had all won multiple awards at. So I'd gained some recognition outside of my school, and some among my peers, but most of them, alongside practically all of my teachers, still saw me as that immature, airheaded class clown from grade 7. Yet now I wanted to change that. I wanted them to know that I had grown up too. It was a great speech, they told me. I didn't make it to semifinals. Maybe I should have asked for some feedback, but I'd gotten a good mark, so it wasn't like there was anything glaringly wrong with the speech other than that it just didn't get into semifinals. And I didn't want to ask why, because wouldn't that make it look like I'm dissatisfied with the teacher's choices, when in actuality I'm just dissatisfied with the quality of my own work? I mean, I had some feedback already anyway, just that this wasn't really persuasive speech. It wasn't what they were looking for. I've heard that a lot. Grade 8 passed. Before grade 9's public speaking unit, I went to several more competitions, further improved on my skills and myself. This year I was sure, okay, I finally learned my lesson. This year I was going to follow the rules. This year I finally chose after dinner because my English teacher had recommended it to me. I mean, I'd wanted to do something like slam poetry, but no, I get it now. If the teacher tells you to do something, then you just do it. Fit the criteria, follow the rules. Maybe that's how I was winning all those awards back then, because I just fit the mold. Okay, that's it, I get it now. After dinner it is. But you're not really funny anymore, my friends pointed out. And I guess it was true. I turned my interest from being the class clown to scoring high in my courses instead. I didn't want to just make a joke out of all of the lessons anymore. I didn't want to make a joke out of myself anymore just to gain recognition. Back then, I didn't know what it meant when I wanted people to remember me. I thought I was being obnoxious. I was being attention greedy. I should just stop talking, quiet down, please go away, stop saying everything you think to everyone. I wrote a speech for grade 9, and I deleted it. I didn't like it. I wasn't sure that I could just keep making joke after joke and keep making fun of my own stories just to fit the expectations the teachers had set out for me. I felt like I'd made the wrong decision, even when everyone else around me told me that it was right. Sometimes I don't believe in myself, even when others believe in me. And because they believe and I don't, then it makes me feel like I'm doing something wrong. I wanted to tell myself something that would force me to make a decision. Time was running out. I couldn't waste any more of it deliberating on something that I knew I would never be sure of until after it was all over. I wanted to say to myself that I had something special, some skill or some knowledge that would guarantee my decision, whatever it would be, would at least be right. But I didn't have anything like that. Life isn't easy like that. The future doesn't make you any promises. I was just a middle school student. I'm a high school student now, but I still don't feel nearly tall enough in comparison with all of the others. I'm a 15-year-old girl who's Chinese, lives in North America, likes to eat, write fiction stories, and listen to music. I'm a 15-year-old girl who's a fan of K-pop and anime, but can't really dance or draw to save her life. I'm a 15-year-old girl named Mona who goes to school and does her homework on time the best she can, because I'm just like any of the other youth in the world. I'm up here on stage and maybe I'm impressing someone, but at the end of the day, I'm just a kid and I do what kids do best. I live, I laugh, I learn, and I play, and I wait for the adults to acknowledge me. Acknowledge me. So that's what I wanted all those years ago. That was it. I wrote an after-dinner speech, and I packed it with as many jokes as I could because that's what I was told to do. But inside, I still knew that I wanted to give it a deeper meaning, something for the audience to remember even after the presentation was over. And even if I had been told all my life that my way of public speaking wasn't right, that it didn't meet the expectations, I didn't want to live with regrets. I told myself that even if I chose something to talk about that was more difficult than everybody else, that didn't mean that I should just shut up about it. For the sake of speaking messages I truly believed in, I told myself, if the topic is harder, then become a better speaker. You want to be acknowledged? Stop running away. And this time, I finally made it to semifinals. I didn't win any of the medals, but I was told something interesting by my English teacher. She said that my speech had caused a lot of discussion in the English department, and that it wasn't quite an after dinner, but it was still a really good speech. She said they were thinking about how to let children be able to express themselves more freely in our public speaking units, to be able to make speeches like mine or speeches that we haven't even thought of yet without being restricted by category this, category that. After years of refusing to change my style and my messages, it wasn't all just for nothing. Even if I didn't meet their expectations, I could still exceed them. I could still better myself. Thinking back to this now, yeah, I get it. There's no set goal or age that I have to fulfill before I start shaping the future. I don't need to wait to make change. Us youth might be unassuming. It's true that we're not as old as the adults. We don't have as much experience or knowledge yet. We don't learn when we're held back, told to wait until we grow up. That doesn't mean that we have to make any major, final, set-in-stone decisions now. But it does mean that we need to start making change in order to understand how it works, in order to understand how to make it work the way we want. Change is just something new. Us, the new generation with the new mindset. The change grows with us. It doesn't just magically occur the moment we become adults. It's a gradual thing that takes time and effort, and that doesn't change no matter how old you are. I don't mind if I have to face challenges that I've never faced before, or fight conflict that hurts me, damages me, and tells me I can't do it. Because even if I wait until I've grown up to confront those obstacles, it doesn't change the fact that I've never faced them before. I'll still always be unsure, anxious, and afraid of the unknown until it's all over. But I don't mind if you tell me that I'm too young and that I should just follow your lead. Because in the end, I'm the one who's in charge of myself. In the end, the youth always grow up and become the adults. No matter what our age, we have been, are, and always will be essential to the direction of our society. All of us are a part of humankind, and all of us have the right to determine what our existence means, now and in the future. I used to be afraid of going against the grown-ups and the conflict that would make. But it's through that conflict that I'll make change, that I'll shape my future, that I'll shape myself. All of the conflicts I've been through, all of the struggles I've faced, it is because of them that I am here today. So thank you, anyone who's ever been against me, anyone who's ever believed or hoped that I would fall, for giving me these chances to fly.